Thank you all very much for coming. I see a lot of familiar faces. Is there anybody who's never been to one of these before? I know there's a few people. Okay, excellent. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming. Can I also ask, is there anybody who's never meditated before? Never. Welcome. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Justin. I've been meditating on and off for about 30 years. I've been teaching on and off for about 19. It doesn't make me an expert. I'm not a guru. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I'm just somebody who meditates a lot. I've studied it a lot. I get a lot out of it, pretty passionate about it, and I like sharing it. So tonight we're going to do some meditation. I'm going to do 3 different meditations. They're going to be pretty similar, very slightly different. And all I want you to do is just to do your best. So tonight, it's really a 90-minute journey. So if you just keep going, so at various points in the evening, you may think you don't know if you're doing it right, or it might be hard, or you're not sure if your mind is suitable for meditation or something like that. And all I'd say is, it's okay, but just keep going with it. Just keep doing your best, no matter how distracted you are, or how you're feeling, or whatever. Just keep going. Because the only time to really evaluate meditation is after it's all over. So at the end of the evening, that's the best time to judge whether it's working or how you did. Since there's at least one person who's never done it before, but I think it's always useful for everybody, I just want to share a couple of things about meditation. The first is to disavow you of some notion of what meditation is not. So there is a sense, I think a lot of people have, that meditation is about stopping your mind, that somehow you're supposed to sit cross-legged in a very uncomfortable position, close your eyes, and suddenly peace will emanate from every fiber of your being. Well, that's probably not going to happen. For a start, we're not going to sit in uncomfortable positions. The other thing is that that's really not what meditation is. And I know that there is this sense out there that that's what's going to happen. But meditation is actually, it's a very simple exercise of breathing. And if you can breathe, you can meditate. So I invite you all, just take a deep breath in and let it out. Now that's not quite meditation, but very close. So we're going to turn that into a meditation. So now all I want you to do is to take another deep breath in, but as you breathe in, really pay attention to the air as it comes in, and then as you breathe out, just pay attention to the air as it goes out, and that's it. So once again, so let's take another deep breath in, paying attention, and let it out. Paying attention to the air. That's it. That is a meditation. So, what's such a big deal? Okay, so the problem is that we have a mind. And I'm going to ask you to try and hold your attention on your breathing for about 3 minutes. And at first, you might be able to do that. You might sort of pay attention, and you might be aware of the air as it comes in over your nostrils. You might pay attention and notice how far it goes down into your chest. And then you might notice as it comes back out again, you think, ooh, I'm doing this well, I've got this thing. Okay, so if you do think that, you suddenly go, ooh, I'm doing it well, that's fine. But then just notice that's a thought, and then just return your attention back to the next breath. Just paying attention, without really thinking about it, just paying attention to the breathing. Now, after about 2 or 3 breaths, your mind is going to go somewhere. It might think, oh, where's his accent from? Or who cuts his hair? Because I think I really like his haircut. Or wherever it goes, you might suddenly remember you forgot to feed the dog. But your mind's going to go somewhere. Your mind, my mind, everybody's mind. Everybody in this room will get distracted within a few breaths, but certainly over the 3 minutes. And that is normal. That is the meditation. we try to put our attention in the present moment and pay attention to the breathing, and we get distracted. Now, the key moment in meditation is when you notice that you've got distracted. When you realize that you are no longer paying attention to the breath, that's the great moment. In that moment, you are doing it right. Because in that moment, you are now aware of where your mind is. And then the next trick, this isn't so easy, but the next trick is to try and let go of whatever you were thinking about. And you might have had some brilliant idea about how to cure cancer or something like that. And I'm going to say, just let it go. Probably won't be that exciting a thought. It'll probably just be about some conversation you had earlier today, or some email you need to reply to that's really annoying you. But whatever it is, just try and let it go and return your attention back to the next breath. And I don't want to be too flippant about that, because that's actually quite difficult, because sometimes these thoughts, we really like them. They're really sticky, and we think, oh, I really need to think about this. Well, I'm going to just see if you can just think about it later. But for now, we're just going to try and hold our attention on the breathing. And part of the exercise is about letting go of the thought and returning your attention back to the next breath. And that's meditation. And everybody can do that. And it doesn't matter how many times you get distracted. Nobody's keeping score. And in fact, it really doesn't matter how many times you get distracted, because the purpose here, at least at one level, and there are many levels to this, but at least at one level, part of the purpose here is to start to notice your own mind and start to notice where it goes and that it's gone somewhere, and then to bring it back. And you might say, what's the big deal? Why do we do this exercise? And I'll get into some of the why, but for now, for the next 3 minutes, if I can just ask you to try this. So just to take a deep breath in and to let it out. And now as you take the next deep breath in, try and sit up straight so you're alert. I don't want you to be rigid, but you want to be alert because you need to pay attention. So as you take a breath in, sit up straight. And then as you breathe out, just try and settle your body and relax a little bit. See if you can ease any tension. So take another deep breath in. And just as you breathe out, just see if you can loosen any tension in your belly, in your chest. Maybe notice if you're holding tension in your face, your shoulders. And as you breathe out, just try and release some of that. Soften your body a little bit. And now allowing your breathing to return to normal. And just see if you can hold your attention on that in-breath and then on the out-breath. We'll just do this for 3 minutes. And every time you notice you've got distracted, don't worry about it. That's normal. That's what the exercise is. And then you're just going to return your attention back to the next breath. With your eyes still closed, just take another deep breath in. And just see if you can expand your area of focus just to notice your body. Notice how it's sitting in the chair. Just be aware of your feet on the floor. Maybe notice the heaviness of your shoulders. And just see if you can notice how you're feeling right now. You might be feeling relaxed, but you might be feeling a bit tired or anxious. might be feeling hopeful. You might be feeling a bit fearful. Or maybe something's frustrating you at the moment. Without judging it or trying to change it, just see if you can become aware of how you're feeling. Then take another deep breath in. And let it out. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into the room. Well, congratulations, you have now meditated. So since we have somebody who's never done it before, can I just see a show of hands who got distracted during that? Can I just ask you to put your hands up? And so if you can just see everybody gets distracted. So why do we do this meditation thing? Well, I think the reason most people come is you want to feel a bit better. You've probably heard that meditation makes you feel better. And it works. Meditation generally makes people feel better. There are a lot of reasons for that. One is just the breathing. We spend our day running around like crazy, mostly sort of holding our breath, actually, or not completely holding our breath, but not breathing properly and breathing very shallow in our chest. And just pausing for a second and breathing properly can create a reaction in the nervous system, in the parasympathetic nervous system, to get you a bit more relaxed. The other thing is that our minds, they're a bit relentless. There's all this stuff, all this pressure, this 24/7 lifestyle we have. There's so much stuff going on that we're trying to juggle so many different things. So our minds are a little crazy. And just by pausing for a second and giving the mind just one thing to focus on, even though you keep getting distracted, at least to a certain extent, you're just taking a break. And that can be quite nice. I think most people, when they first come to meditation, that's what they're looking for. Most people, when I say to people I teach meditation, they go, oh, I could really use that. I'd like to feel more relaxed. And I tend to get kind of frustrated because I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, meditation is, I know. People want to feel more relaxed. They're pretty stressed. And meditation does do that. It works. And if that's why you came, it works. You'll get what you want. But for me, meditation is about much, much more than that. And I always feel as though I get sold short when people think it's just a relaxation exercise. I'm like, yeah, it is that. But it's so much more than that. So I have two main goals tonight. The first is, which I hope we've already done, is to try and disavow you of some notion that meditation is hard. It's not hard. It's very easy. Trying to get your mind to stay in one place. Now that's really hard. But that's not really what we're trying to do. We put it somewhere, and then we notice when it gets distracted. So if I can disavow you of the notion that we're trying to hold it in that one place relentlessly, then hopefully you'll realize meditation's it's not hard. We try and put it in one place, and then we will get distracted, guaranteed. And then when you get distracted, you just keep bringing it back. And what happens the more you do that is it starts to settle. So that's my first goal. Meditation's not that hard. If you can breathe, you can meditate. My second goal is to get you to want to do this every night or every day for the rest of your life. That's not quite so easy. There are a number of, who here has been to probably more than half of these classes? So about half of you. Now, how many of you, hands high, meditate every day? Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. About half of that number. So I'm failing dismally. However, I'm going to relentlessly try. And to those of you who do meditate every day, well done, well done. So how am I going to do that? Well, one is, tonight, I hope you feel a bit better. By the end of this evening, we're going to do 3 different meditations, and I hope you're going to feel a bit better. And in some ways, I'm sort of just trying to sow seeds. I'm like a heroin dealer, pushing meditation on you. So hopefully at the end of the evening, you'll feel a little bit better. Or tomorrow morning, you'll go, oh, that felt pretty good. And then maybe you won't meditate again for 10 years. But hopefully there'll just be this little thing. I once did that meditation thing, and it kind of worked. I felt better. And if that's all I get out of tonight, that's fine. So I want you to feel better, and hopefully part of you will think maybe this is worth it. The other is I want to encourage you. This is doable. You don't have to have some amazing mind which sits like in perfect stillness in order to do this. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You can do this. This is definitely doable. And the other one is I'm going to try and give you reasons. Reasons why you should meditate. And there are about 50,000 reasons why you should meditate. But I'm not going to go into all of them. I'm just going to try and give you one tonight. So feeling better. But maybe tonight, all I really want to do, because tonight's the first night of the series, I just want to start to introduce you to this idea about your mind. So I asked you to put your mind on the breathing, and it sat there briefly, and then it went somewhere. And the first thing I'd like you to notice really, is that your mind is not quite as obedient as you might have thought. You might think you're in control of your mind, but you said, stay, and it went somewhere else. And then you brought it back and you said, okay, stay, and it goes somewhere else. And then there's a moment when you become aware that your mind has gone somewhere else. And that's really important for a couple of reasons. One is it's really useful to start to develop that skill of noticing where your mind is. It's 7:45 in the evening. Where is my mind? That's a useful skill, to notice where your mind is. The other thing is to notice that although we tend to think we are our mind, that's who we are. It's how we define ourselves. It's our personality. It's our wants. It's our fears. It's our morality. It's beliefs. There is a sense in which there's a moment when you are aware of your own mind and where your thoughts are. So there's a little bit of a difference between you and your mind. Because there's a part of you that was aware of your own thought. And that's kind of subtle, but really, really important. Because what you start to realize is that you have a mind, but you are not your mind. It's like you have a hand, but you are not your hand. Yeah, you have one, and it's useful, and it's part of you, but you are not your hand, and you are not your mind. You have a mind. And when you completely identify with your mind and you go wherever your mind takes you, then you're always at the whim of wherever it goes. And if somebody says something nice to you and you like that and your mind feels good, then that's where you go and you're feeling all good about it. But if somebody says something mean or spiteful or hurtful, then your mind goes off in a different direction and you follow, and that's where you are. If you can create a tiny bit of separation and notice that you have a mind, but you are not entirely your mind, then all of a sudden you don't have to go everywhere your mind goes. You can start to notice where your mind is going and decide if that's where you want to go. And if it's not where you want to go, you're developing in meditation this skill of putting it somewhere else. And so that's one thing we're doing. It's just one reason is we're going to start to change our relationship with our own mind. Okay, so we'll do another meditation. First, any questions? I know you all want to know who cuts my hair. I cut my hair. Are there any other questions? Okay, I'm going to throw out one thing for you. So when we're trying to do this meditation thing, and we're trying to sort of hold our attention, and there's a noise, like somebody coughs, or the heater, which is trying desperately hard to heat the room, failing dismally, but it's trying, and it's making this noise. And that noise might be distracting to you, or a police car goes by, or somebody playing loud music goes by, and you get distracted by the noise. What do you do about that? Anybody, what do you do about that? Sorry? Notice it. Notice it. Excellent. I give you 10% off the next class. So that's it. It's very easy to get distracted by these things. We get distracted by our own thoughts, but we get distracted by noises too, and we sort of might notice the sound or notice the police car and think, oh, that noise is ruining my meditation. And if you can, just notice that you're getting distracted. It's just like a thought. So notice that that's where your mind has gone. Often the mind is desperate for any distraction at all. So if there's a noise or anything at all, or you suddenly feel hungry, your mind will latch onto anything in order to think about something and to not stay focused on one spot. So just notice that that happens. And if you get distracted by the noise, that's okay. But then notice it for what it is. It's just a distraction. And then bring your mind back to the next breath. Okay, so let's try this for 5 minutes this time. So again, if I can invite you all to sit up straight, the idea is you really do want to be paying attention. So you want to be alert, but not rigid. So as you breathe in, sit up straight. And then as you breathe out, just try and settle your body. Soften. Notice if you're carrying any tension in your hands or in your face or your shoulders. Take another deep breath in. And let it out. And now allow your breathing to go back to normal. And just trying to hold your attention on the breathing. You can notice the air as it comes in and out. Or you can notice your body moving. Your chest or your belly expanding and then contracting. It doesn't matter what aspect of breathing you hold your attention on. And then whenever you get distracted, just notice, I got distracted. And then return your attention back to the next breath. Do this for about 5 minutes. And then again, with your eyes closed, just take a deep breath in. And let it out. And once again, just becoming aware of maybe the pressure of the floor against your feet. And your body sitting in the seat. Noticing your shoulders, the weight of your head. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just notice again how you're feeling. And it might be the same as before. It might have changed. But just seeing if you can notice what's true without trying to change it or resist it. Just being aware of your feeling as if you were being aware of your breathing. And then when you're ready, open your eyes, come back into the room. This mind thing can be a bit tricky. It's a bit slippery, our mind. It likes to relentlessly think about things, creating problems or solving problems. In meditation, what we're starting to discover is an alternative. It's not to say that thinking is bad. Thinking is great. It's important. But it's to give you an alternative, so that you don't have to relentlessly be just constantly churning inside your head. And what we're doing, in a lot of meditations are very similar. They're variations on a theme whereby what we're trying to do is to sit in a state of awareness of the present moment. And the reason breathing is useful is in part because breathing is a very useful thing to be doing better. It makes us feel better if we breathe properly. But the other nice thing about breathing is it's always there. It's always, this breath right now is only happening right now. So if you hold your attention on this breath, your attention is in the present moment. You are aware in the present moment. And there's a difference between awareness of the world and of the present moment and of everything that's going on in this present moment, as opposed to thinking. And thinking is what happens in here. That's when we evaluate something. We decide whether we like it, we don't like it, whether it's good or it's bad, it's useful or it's not useful, it's exciting or boring. And that all happens in here. And that's important. I don't want to say it's not important. However, most of the time, that happens automatically, whether we like it or not, and we're just along for the ride. And another way of being is just to sit and observe and to see what's going on without immediately evaluating it, and just to see. Apparently, Yogi Berra said, it's amazing how much you can observe by just watching. And even if he didn't say it, it sounds like something he might have said. But there's a lot of truth to that, and that's really what a lot of meditation is about stopping the relentless processing in here, or at least slowing it down, and having a little bit more where you're just in observation. And even if you only get that for the sort of a second here or a second there, we're developing a sense that you don't have to exist solely processing everything in your mind. Sometimes you can just sit in observation, in present moment awareness. Now, why? What's so great about present moment awareness? Well, a couple of things. One is it gives us a break from this relentless churning. And the other thing is that, and this is for you to discover really, is that in those moments where you just get to sit and observe, you can discover it's actually pretty amazing. There's a lot more available than you might have realized. Each breath, it seems like we take it for granted. Like, what's so special about breathing? Breathing's boring. Why are we focused on the breathing? Well, breathing can be a lot more interesting. For one thing, what you can do is you can hold your nose and close your lips. And pretty quickly, breathing becomes very interesting. But a little bit less, flippantly, Each breath is incredibly valuable. It's the thing that's keeping you alive. And at some point in your life, you'll look back on these breaths that you take for granted and you realize they were incredibly precious. And the problem is that we're so busy, we miss what's going on right now. But what's right now is actually always available to us. The problem is our mind doesn't want to go there. It doesn't want to sit in the present moment. It wants to go off and solve problems and get that revenge for that horrible thing that person said yesterday. Or, work out how to make lots more money and be really happy, or win the lottery, or whatever it is, wherever your mind likes to go. That's where it wants to go. It doesn't actually want to sit in the present moment. And that's why we meditate. It's a training. It's nice. Just meditating itself can be very nice. But it's also a training so that you can, at any point during the day, you can pause. You can take a breath. You can be in the present moment and see it for what it is. It's incredibly valuable present moment right now. Okay, any questions? We'll do a slightly different meditation in a second. Any questions? No, everybody's cold, I know. I'm sorry about that. It'll be better next week, I'm sure. There is a Tibetan skill whereby, because it's really cold and they didn't have central heating, they actually developed this meditation thing. It's called the tumo, whereby they didn't need it. There's a meditation skill where you focus on the middle of your chest and you can generate all this heat. Anyway, I've tried it for years. I haven't been able to do it. So I did once go on a meditation. I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent. Oh, because it's cold. I went on this meditation in the middle of the desert, in the middle of winter. It's bloody freezing. Everybody's like in all these, I don't know why we do these things, but if you get into meditation, you can do some crazy stuff. Anyway, so we're all in these ski suits and we're all freezing cold. But the person who was doing it was this like Tibetan master. Anyway, he was just in t-shirt and shorts. It was like 15 degrees. But anytime he walked near you, you just got this, it was like he was a massive radiator, all this like heat. So everybody was just like, please come over here, please come over here. Anyway, but I'm really sorry. I have tried. I've not learned that skill, so I can't warm the room up. But there are all these exciting things to learn in meditation. So what we're doing tonight is one tiny, tiny piece of this subject. It's a massive subject. And we're just looking at one tiny piece. And over the next 4 weeks, look at different aspects of meditation and different reasons why you do it and different techniques and things like that. I want to vary it very slightly. So lots of variations on a theme here about breathing meditation. The next one I want to do is I'm just going to invite you to count your breaths. So as you can either count the in breath or you count the out breath. So as you breathe in, maybe you count, just in your mind, just count 1. And then breathe out. And then as you breathe in, count 2. And the idea is to just try and get up to 10. And then when you get up to 10, then just start to count back down again to 1. Now, there's not much more, there's no real different than the other meditation where you're focused on your breathing. But sometimes adding something to the mind just helps it maybe get slightly less distracted by giving it something to hook onto in terms of these numbers. Now, what may happen, it's only what happens to me a lot when I try this, is you may find yourself at 18 or 23 or something, and you've got completely distracted off of the fact that you're supposed to be only going up to 10. And meanwhile, you're also sort of sorting out how you're going to feed all these people who are coming on Saturday and what are you going to serve. And you've solved all these other problems while you were trying to meditate. And you got to 23. If that happens, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just go back to 1. Just start again. It doesn't mean you did it wrong. It's just what happens. But you can notice that it happened. Notice like, oh, yeah, I got distracted. And then refocus back on 1 and back on the next breath. Any questions? We'll do this for about 10 minutes. I'll let you know when about 3 minutes have gone by, just in case you're a long way down a track of distraction. And then, just because I've sat where you're sitting, and I know at some point you're going to go, please, can this be over already? I'll let you know when there are 3 minutes left. Again, if you can sit up straight, so feet flat on the floor, hands wherever they're comfortable. And as you take a deep breath in, just try and sort of straighten your back a little bit so that you're alert. I'd invite you to close your eyes, but if you're feeling very sleepy, it may help to leave your eyes open, maybe just lower your gaze slightly and soften your gaze. Just take a couple of deep breaths in and let them out. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, just softening your body. And then allow your breathing to return to normal. And again, you're going to try and hold your attention on the breathing. But each time, just counting. Going up to 10, and then coming back down again to 1. Once again, if I can ask you to keep your eyes closed, but take a deep breath in. And let it out. And just become aware of your whole body. Noticing it as it's breathing. But all of your body, not just your chest or your belly. Noticing the sensation of your feet on the floor. Noticing where your body is touching the chair and where it's not. Noticing your chest and your belly as you breathe. Aware of your heaviness of your shoulders and your arms. Just noticing where your hands are. They can feel something touching them. And where they can't. And just noticing your neck and the weight of your head. And just noticing where you're holding tension. Maybe in your jaw, your cheeks, and your forehead. And as you breathe, just see if you can soften any tension in your body. Then once again, just notice how you're feeling. Not trying to feel a certain way or wishing it was different. Just seeing if you can notice what's true. Whether you're feeling happy, or maybe if there's some sadness or frustration. And again, we're not trying to run away from it or avoid it or change it. In this exercise, You're just trying to see what's there right now. Just being aware of your feelings. And it may be complicated. There may be lots. Maybe you feel some calm. But at the same time, you might feel some anxiety. You might be feeling peaceful, but also frustrated. Just checking in and noticing how you feel. And if you have an uncomfortable feeling and you don't like it, you wish it was different, notice that you're wishing it was different. And take a deep breath in and let it out. And when you're ready, come back into the room. So I've been videoing a lot of these sessions, and over the holiday period, I was watching myself, and I noticed I start just about every single sentence with the word so. So. It's one of those things that there are all these aspects of our being that are automatic, and we don't really notice them unless they're pointed out, or unless you force yourself to watch yourself on video. And that's like our mind. I was going to say so. And it's like our mind. Our mind has these habitual patterns. It goes down, and we're not even aware of that most of the time. It's our mind. We're very proud of our mind. Our mind is always right. So we don't tend to notice it when it follows these patterns. And sometimes those patterns are incredibly helpful. And they're good patterns, and we sort of, maybe you have a good set of habits that you sort of get up and you go to the gym, or you get up and you brush your teeth, or maybe just you get up. Whatever is your good habit, that's good. And your mind sort of gets you off, and it allows you to live your life relatively successfully. But sometimes the mind has these habits that aren't quite so helpful. There's a lot of self-destructive thoughts, self-loathing. We are very self-judgmental. We believe that we should beat ourselves up because we're not nice enough, or we're not clever enough, we're not funny enough, we're not fit enough, we're not disciplined enough, we're not spiritual enough, not creative enough, not pretty enough. All these things that our mind tells us, and we listen. We're not even aware of the fact that we have these habits. And to some extent in meditation, what we do, and this takes a little bit of time to get there, but as you sit and you try and hold your attention, and then your mind disappears off in a certain direction, and you notice it and you go, oh, okay. And then you bring it back, and then it goes off in a certain direction, and you bring it back, and it goes off in a direction, and you bring it back. Over time, you'll start to notice, what are the habits of your mind? Where does it go? And it's a little bit like me watching the video, is you'll start to notice, what are these habitual things that happen? And then you can decide whether you want to change it. And it's tricky. I still want to say so every time I'm about to say something. I don't know why. But now that I'm aware of it, I can then decide whether I want to do that or not. And it's the same with our mind. As we start to get some perspective, we start to develop this relationship with our own thoughts, we can then decide, okay, I'm doing that thing where I'm beating myself up yet again because I'm not as happy as I should be, or whatever it is. I'm not as happy as all those people on all those commercials. So my life is probably not as good as it should be because I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are. Maybe that's just my thoughts. But whatever it is we beat ourselves up about, is you can start to just notice that and decide, okay, is that where I want to go with my mind right now? Or do I want to go somewhere else? And that's one of the things, is we're starting to develop that capacity to start to develop that relationship with our mind, to notice where it goes, and then decide if we want to go there. But the other thing we do, every single time you notice you're distracted and you bring your mind back, you're doing something that's actually very difficult, which is you're changing the track of your thoughts. And that's quite tricky. So what we're doing is we're developing that skill of your mind is going down one track and you're like, okay, I was trying to hold my attention on the breathing in this present moment, so I'm going to bring it back. And that's quite difficult to do, actually. I mean, in meditation, it's not that hard, but in real life, once you're going down a particular track, let's just say hypothetically you get cut off in traffic. Not that ever happens in New Jersey. But if you do, and you suddenly rail against these inconsiderate, selfish people who are the reason the world is in the state it's in, or wherever your mind goes, you can notice that it's gone in that direction. There's actually nothing you can do in that moment. Well, nothing you can do in New Jersey. If we were in Texas, you could do something. But in New Jersey, there's nothing you can do. So all you can do is get frustrated, or you can notice that you're getting frustrated. But in order to get out of that rut, it's quite tricky. You're like, all this self-righteous anger about these bad people who are selfish. But if you meditate, you're developing that skill of noticing where your mind is and saying, okay, do I want it to be there? And you can say, no, I want it to be somewhere else. And that doesn't mean your body is going to immediately suddenly relax, but it will start to. Your body will still have adrenaline running and all that stuff. But as your mind goes somewhere else, then the body will follow. And your body will then relax. So that's one of the things we're doing in meditation, is we develop this relationship with our own mind, with our own thoughts. We're going to see our patterns. And then we have the option to change them. Now, we focused mostly on the mind tonight. And a lot of people think of meditation as being a mental exercise. And to a certain extent, that's definitely a part of it. And there's even this word out there called mindfulness. It's not a word I like very much for lots of reasons, but one of which is, put a gun to my head, do I know how to use it in a sentence? I'm not sure. But the other thing is that it's all about mind, and mindfulness is not just about the mind. It's about being aware of everything in the present moment, not just your thoughts. So mindfulness really is about awareness. So I prefer that word a lot more to mindfulness. And awareness is not just about your thoughts and where your thoughts are. It's also about how your body is. And it's also about your emotions. And starting to become more aware of your emotional life as well and your feelings. And so we'll look at that a little bit more in coming weeks. But meditation, it's not just about that. So at the end of these exercises, when I'm asking you to also become aware of your body, that's another aspect of this meditation or awareness, is it's not just about being aware of your mind, although that's a big part. It's about being aware of everything, really. Sound, feelings, sensations. Okay, last chance. Any questions? Somebody's got to have a question. Okay, I will ask a question for you, which is, how long should you meditate for? Sorry?
Good question.
Okay. Anybody? Thank you, Frank. Anybody want to hazard a guess at how long you should meditate for? Sorry?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. 20 minutes is excellent. Somebody else? 10 minutes. 10 minutes is excellent. Kate.
However long you're going to stick with.
However long you're going to stick with it. That's probably the perfect answer. Yeah. For me, that's about 15 seconds. So, but what I think you mean is there's no value in sticking with meditation longer than you're actually going to try and do the exercise. And that is quite an important piece, is that when you're just starting, it can feel quite exhausting just doing 5 minutes or 10 minutes maybe is you just like all that toing and froing in your mind can feel exhausting. And at some point you might just stop trying. And stopping trying is unhelpful because you might get into a habit of just sitting there and working out, how you're going to get your taxes done in time or something like that. And that's not what we're trying to do. We are trying to do this exercise. So you want to stay in a good habit of at least trying. It's not that you're not going to get distracted. You are going to get distracted. But there's a difference between getting distracted and trying to always bring your mind back, as opposed to just sitting in the chair and just spacing out. Now, I have nothing against sitting in a chair and spacing out. It's just not meditating, that's all. That's sitting in a chair and spacing out. Different. What I would say is, I think the perfect amount of time to meditate is the amount of time you have to meditate. So, when I first started doing these classes, I tried to give everybody homework, and then nobody came back. So I stopped giving people homework, because obviously nobody does the homework. I know none of you are going to do this, but I still want to throw out this challenge. It's a really, really simple challenge. And I got this from Dan Harris. Some of you will know who Dan Harris is. He's an ABC News reporter who's wrote a very good book on meditation called 10% Happier, about how he discovered meditation. Anyway, he's got a brand new book out, just came out last week, called Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics. And his big thing is, now that he's into meditation, he's like, how can he get everybody to just do it? He's managed to convince a lot of people it's a worthwhile thing to do, but still nobody's actually doing it. So how do you get people to do it? And his big thing is, just do it for a minute. Just get a minute. So that's my challenge to you. All of you. See if you can do a minute every day. Those of you who are doing 2 hours a day, keep doing 2 hours a day. But those of you who aren't doing any but think you should, here's my challenge. You wake up in the morning. I know, you're already late. But you wake up in the morning, you have to get your feet out of bed. Your feet have to be on the floor. You can sit on the edge of the bed, but your feet have to be up. And you can't be lying down with your feet on the floor either. That's cheating. You actually have to sit up. But you can sit up on the end of your bed, on the edge of your bed, close your eyes, don't fall asleep, but close your eyes and do 10 breaths in. So do 10, count up to 10, and then count back down from 10 back down to 1. That's about a minute. It might be about a minute and a half. Might be less, depends on how much you breathe. And don't just go. So normal breathing. But try and do that every day. I promise you it'll make a difference, make a huge difference. And what it'll do is it'll start to get you into that little bit of a habit of doing a little bit every day. So just try and do a minute. Now, if you really want to do the advanced class, you do a minute in the morning and then a minute in the evening. That's really advanced stuff. But just before you go to bed, and it's really hard because when you want to go to bed, you're really tired. But this will completely change how well you sleep. I promise. I know this sounds crazy. But if you even just do 1 minute, it will completely change how well you sleep. So just before you're going to go to bed, just sit on the edge of the bed and just 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out. Trying to hold your attention on the breathing. Now, that's all I want you to do for the week. Maybe 1 minute in the morning, maybe 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute in the evening. I don't mind. And if you only remember to do this tomorrow and you forget the rest of the time, still come back next week. I don't care. I'm not going to check. There's no A's or B's or whatever. Just do your best. Part of it is to get into a little bit of a habit of doing it and to notice the difference if you do it. If you can do 1 minute, and you actually start to enjoy it even a little bit, you might start to do 2. You might not, I don't care, but you might. You might start to do 2. And then at some point you might end up doing 20 or whatever. But so that's my challenge, is that there is no right amount. In scientific experiments, they seem to think that 12 minutes is some magic number. It's not the best number, but it's the best return on investment. You get the most amount of benefit for the amount of time spent. It's 12 minutes. But 1 minute is still great. An hour is better. But start with a minute. So try 1 minute every morning. I know you're already late and you've got to get the train or whatever it is you have to do. But it's just a minute. It's just a minute. So try and do a minute. And see if you can do every day for a week. And then see what the difference is. So morning is not particularly special, except that it's easy to get, if you get it done in the morning, you get it done. The best time of day to meditate is whatever time of day you meditate. There is no best time. So if you're much better off in the evening, just do it in the evening. It doesn't matter. But getting it done in the morning tends to just at least get it done. And that'll set up your day much better if you get it done in the morning. So that's 2 questions. Okay. Last meditation. So we're going to do a similar again, but I'm going to give you a slightly more advanced version here. It's called noting. It's not super advanced, but it's a little bit different. So what I want you to do here is, again, we're going to try and hold our attention on the breathing, just the same as before. But when you notice you've got distracted, what I want you to do is to try to notice what type of thought were you having. So were you thinking about the past? Thinking about something that happened earlier today? Were you sort of recapitulating a conversation or an email or, I don't know, some sports event or whatever it is, something that happened at work? Are you mulling over something that happened in the past? And if that's happening, you can just go, oh yeah, I'm thinking about something in the past. And you just note that. Try not to analyze it too much. You're just going to notice it. If you're thinking about something that you need to do later, obviously that's something in the future. It's easy. If you're worrying about something, if you've got a problem that you're trying to solve, and you find yourself analyzing it, just notice, I'm problem solving. So you're just going to try and put a little note on whatever the type of thought is that you're having. And try not to then get into an analysis of, I wonder why I'm doing that. And I wonder where this thought comes from. Try not to do that. Just try to notice what the thought is, and then see if you can let it go and return your attention back to the next breath. And again, we'll do this for about 10 minutes. So again, sitting up straight, feet flat on the floor, hands wherever they're comfortable. And take a deep breath in and let it out. And one more deep breath in. And just let go of any tension as you breathe out. And now allow your breathing to return to normal. And holding your attention on the breath. And if you want to do the counting thing again, you can. Or if not, just holding your attention on each in-breath and out-breath. And when you notice you've got distracted, just make a little mental note of what type of distraction it was. And then bring your attention back to the next breath. With your eyes still closed, just take a deep breath in and let it out. And don't be in too much of a rush to return your mind back to its habitual self. Just see if you can hold that space of a little bit of calm, a little bit less frantic thinking. And just know that at any point in the day, you've always got the opportunity just to pause, even if it's just for one breath. And just to notice that next in-breath and that next out-breath. Take another deep breath in and let it out. And when you're ready, come back into the room. And now that week is over, we will be back here, same time, same place next week, looking at something very slightly different. Hope you can make it. In the meantime, have a great night. Have a great week. Thanks very much, everybody.